Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of NEWSWAVE, written, produced and recorded in the heart of Cornwall by the team here at Chaos Radio. I'm your host, Joe Allen, filling in for Tom Howe this week, and I'll be guiding you through some of the insightful guests and exciting news content we have enjoyed across Chaos Radio this past week. Kicking off today's show, we chat with Jill and Bob, two volunteers from the Gorran community bus service, who share with us the impact and importance the service has on the local community. We check in with Matthew Kenworthy Gomez, CEO of Cornwall Pride, to get an update on what the team over there has been up to since we last spoke, and to talk about upcoming events and future plans. As well as that, Tom Howe and I took a trip over to Chaos Radio's very own art correspondent, Cathy Davies, as she prepares to unveil her new painting, a collaboration with the Cornwall Fire and Rescue Service, this weekend. And finally, if that all wasn't enough, Janice Rose chats with Paul Haines, who recently finished a 1,400 Kilometre Peace Walk from Berlin to Budapest to reflect on Europe's history, connect with communities and support the work of peace building.
NEWSWAVE.
Right, so at the beginning of July, the Gorran Community Bus Service celebrated their 25th anniversary. Initially started to supplement the national provision, this community service has grown to run scheduled registered services to St Austell, Truro, Plymouth and all points in between, including the Lost Gardens of Heligan and Mevagissey. Often on their Facebook page, Gorran Bus, you can book yourself a seat on excursions all around Cornwall, visiting places like Tintagel, the Japanese Gardens and the Eden Project. Volunteers Jill and Bob popped into Chaos Radio Studios this week to have a chat with Cheryl Gorran on The Breakfast Show.
NEWSWAVE.
Well, we've been going to say 25 years ago. We were launched at the Gorran Street Market by Tim Smith, cutting the ribbon. It's something that we'd planned. We thought we'd be years in getting the funding to get this bus up and running, and then all of a sudden the funds became available. And 25 years ago, there weren't community buses like there are now. You couldn't get them off the peg then like you could today. And we had to research what kind of flooring, what kind of seating, everything else to set up the very first bus. And now we're on our fifth bus, and we managed to replace it virtually every 4 years, which shows the success of the thing that we run.
Absolutely. I remember when I was a little girl, there was a bus service called the Hopper Bus.
Yes.
Yeah. And my gran wasn't too far away from where we lived, my gran and granddad, and sometimes I'd get on the Hopper Bus. My mum would put me on there, and then I'd go round to my gran and granddad's. I remember the Hopper Bus. You used to put your hand out, and there used to be a lot of them, didn't there? You know,
indeed.
And this is where, like, a lot of people within our local community need that support, and maybe they might have a disability that makes it really difficult for them. So, what sort of impact does the bus service, do you find, has on your community?
A very huge impact, actually. Where we are in Gorran and in the other villages where we pick up to, including Mevagissey, there are a lot of people who are of an age, and very often their partner was the one who did all the driving, used to take them everywhere, and they've lost that partner. And a lot of them then got stuck indoors, relied on neighbours and friends to take them shopping or to the doctors or dentist, and they couldn't believe it when suddenly this bus would turn up at their door and help them on and off and take the shopping, and it's made an enormous difference to them, and they don't stop telling us what a lifeline we are to them.
I think it also makes that person feel more independent, doesn't it, as an individual? And I think that's,
indeed,
if you're not having to rely on friends and family, but you can jump on a bus and get to where you need to go to with just that little bit of support, it makes a massive difference.
Yes, well, we also run excursions and take them to places that they request, and it could be Bude or Padstow or Falmouth or wherever, and lots of them have made friends as a result of coming on the bus, seeing the same people each time on the regular shopping trips, and then seen as an excursion, and we'd like to go on that, and so for the sake of a few pounds, they get transported out and about instead of being stuck indoors all day, not seeing anybody. So we think it's a really valuable service that we give, and it must be, because we are, fairly successful and very proud.
The social aspect is immense, isn't it? And I know we keep going on about it, but COVID had an immense effect on so many of us. I know that obviously I live on my own, so I was on my own at that time, and was saying earlier on, remember you're getting out of bed and you're almost hitting a wall every day, thinking, is this ever going to end? And now we're able to have that freedom to do these things. Obviously, this service is immensely brilliant, isn't it?
It certainly is. It certainly is. We can't imagine where we would be without it. I mean, there's a little band of us, volunteers, who run it, and at times it can be very hard work. There is a lot of things we have to stick to. The rules and regulations.
The rules and regulations are pretty strict.
And a lot of paperwork, but it's just so rewarding.
Like, for example, if you were to take somebody out in a wheelchair, you need to have that right seating area for that person, and they're anchored in properly.
Absolutely.
All of those aspects as well. And if you've got
that facility, yes.
And if you've got that service, that's immense again for somebody, isn't it?
Yes,
indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
We do run. Just to tell you what we do, we run Tuesdays to Fridays, and Tuesday we do 2 trips to Truro, morning and afternoon. Wednesday, St Austell. Thursday it's a longer trip to Truro, and then Friday again is back to St Austell and back. And then every third Monday in the month we run to Plymouth, and so even if you don't hold a concession card, which means you can travel free, of course. You can get to Plymouth for the fare capped £3. So Plymouth and back £6. Not bad, is it?
I'm on my way, Bob. I'm on my way.
I'll reserve your seat.
Yeah, we'll have to do a little bit of shopping. Do you want to come with me, Jill? Yeah?
We'll have a nice lunch somewhere.
That sounds like I'd rather do lunch and have a nice coffee than do shopping. But
absolutely. We'll do that then.
Yeah. Why not? And there's some beautiful parts of Plymouth as well.
Yes.
It's not always top of my list of places to go, but again, it's that social aspect, getting people out and they enjoy it as well, which must be, for you as volunteers, must be immensely rewarding. Do you drive, Bob?
I know, I did drive for 20 years,
yeah.
And I don't at the moment, but what I do is take the bus for its mechanical inspections and things. The bus, like every public vehicle, has to be properly inspected every 10 weeks.
Goodness.
And we obviously has to be paid for, and we take that to a local specialist garage, and they check everything, brakes, steering, all the rest of it, to make sure it's top notch. With this vehicle, this is a brand new vehicle anyway, so we shouldn't expect any problems because we only got it in January. But this is again part of the rules and regulations that we have to adhere to run the operation. And Jill plays a huge part in that, because she organised, makes the appointments for this, make sure we got properly licensed to do these trips, and all the paperwork that involves. So it's quite a task.
You're a bit of a coordinator then, Jill, really?
Yes. Some like to call me the fat controller.
Never. What is it they call him? Something different now, don't they? Mr. Top or something. It's different.
Right,
yeah.
Yeah. Because they're not allowed to use the F word.
I think kids certainly go by it, but coordinating it all and making it all work is so important. What challenges do you have keeping the bus service running?
Ooh, how long have you got? Well, the most important one, obviously, is to keep the bus roadworthy. With our new bus, we've got very big wing mirrors, and people seem to like smacking them and breaking the lenses. So I think we're on about our third set of lenses since January.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, there's the mechanical side, but that's all right. We've got a good team looking after that. Challenge?
Sort of funding and things sometimes, I guess, can be tight, can't
funding
it?
Can be, because a lot of our fares, as I say, are free. Although we get a small reimbursement for that. But a lot of people are very generous. They make donations on the bus. And also their own personal donations. Every so often I get a cheque from somebody. And we've got this wonderful group of friends, the Friends of Gorran Bus, who run events during the year. They're down at Gorran Haven Street Fair this coming Sunday. Everybody's very welcome. And they'll have a stall there with a raffle, and they sell magnificent books, paperback books. And we'll be there with a lolly bus, which is a wooden cutout of the bus with little lollies in. It's for the kiddies.
Before you go, could you just remind the listeners about where they can find you and a bit more information, please?
Well, as I say, probably the best place where people will find what we do, where we go, our timetable, which is all important, is on our website, gorranbus.org. If they're in the St Gorran or Mevagissey areas, we're always in the parish magazines for those two areas. And again, phoning the bookings line, 01726 844 933.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Bob and Jill from the Gorran Bus. Have a fantastic. Here's to another 25 years of the bus service.
Thank you very much indeed.
And congratulations, and well done for doing such a great thing within your local community.
NEWSWAVE.
Thank you to Jill and Bob from the Gorran Haven Community Bus Service there. I'm sure we'll be keeping in touch with them over the year to see what they've been up to. Moving on now, Cornwall Pride is an organisation that aims to bring support, help and awareness and celebration for LGBTQ and marginalised communities in Cornwall. Here at Chaos Radio, we have supported Cornwall Pride and all that they do over the years, and we realised that it had been a while since we spoke with friend of Chaos and CEO of Cornwall Pride, Matthew Kenworthy Gomez. He joined Cheryl on The Breakfast Show to talk updates, future events and all things Pride.
NEWSWAVE.
Cornwall Pride's been in existence since 2007 through an incredible community group that came together that saw all the other prides happening around the rest of the UK and wanted to bring a little bit of celebration, but also some safety for the LGBTQ plus community here in Cornwall. And the first ever Pride was in Truro, which was held in Victoria Gardens, and the march started from Lemon Quay and wound its way up into Victoria Gardens, and I was there as well and actually helped out a little bit, and I actually performed those many years ago in Truro Cornwall Pride. But we've changed a little bit. So over the last few years, we have really connected with our community. We have an incredible group of trustees who are from pretty much all of Cornwall, who have incredible amounts of lived experience from the LGBTQ plus community and also in different intersectionalities. And it really gives us a voice, because what we do is we listen to our community to have a look at what Cornwall Pride should be doing and could be doing. And one of the things that we did is we changed our model a little bit. So instead of just having one Pride in one location, because as we know, it's very difficult to travel around Cornwall unless you have a car, we wanted to be able to do something a little bit different. So over the last 4 years, wow, that's crazy, we have been doing Pride in communities. And we've been essentially bringing Pride to different parts of Cornwall. So from Penzance to Bew to Saltash, we had our very first Pride in Liscar not so long ago. And the reason why Pride exists, and one of the things that is heartbreaking to see is some of the commentary and the hate crimes and hate incidences that still continue towards the LGBTQ plus community. Is because we exist, we're human, and as Cornwall Pride's values absolutely share out, we're there to love who you want to love and be who you want to be. It's not for someone else to tell me or others of the community. But I can't speak for all the community because we're all brilliantly different, and that's the most amazing part about it. So we have, not only do we support from a Pride perspective, which is an incredible day of safety for many parts of our community, in which we still receive feedback from our community to say that it's the only day that an individual may feel safe. And actually, that's also one of the reasons why we looked at doing more than one day, because actually, if we have only one day, what happens the other 364 days of the year for that one individual? And there are many, many more like that. So we have had a programme of 11 community prides across Cornwall. We continue to do that this year. It's been a bit more challenging this year from a funding perspective, as many charities and social enterprises have faced this year. It's been a real difficult understanding to see if we can still exist. But we have come together, and actually a real momentous element of support. We have been recently received a grant from Cornwall Community Foundation for us to deliver and support our community this year and ongoing for the next couple of years. And it's not just all about the challenging bits, because actually there's a lot of fun and inspirational elements that come together as well. But I think it's really important just for me to highlight those challenging bits, because if you look at some of the I want to say stats and communications and understanding, not only from the Cornwall but from nationally, the LGBTQ plus community are disproportionately impacted across life stuff. So, for example, AKT, who's an LGBTQ plus homelessness charity, have research to share that 1 in 4 under 25s who are homeless are part of the LGBTQ plus community. And that's a huge disparity when the 2021 census shares that the LGBTQ plus community make up only just over % of the population. So there's some real challenges out there. And the reason why Pride exists is, to share that those challenges are real. There's a face behind them. We're human. We have human rights, and there's some real dignity around who we are. And we do that through love. And that is all that Pride is. Pride is a beautiful celebration of love and kindness. It's much better in the world to be friendly and kind than to share unkind opinions and hate. So we have Truro Pride this Saturday, which is really exciting. And we've mixed it up. So we, instead of walking from essentially Lemon Quay to Victoria, we actually start, so the march starts at 12 o'clock, right on Hendra Park, right underneath Hendra Viaduct. And we'll be marching through Truro to Lemon Street, to Lemon Quay, in which we will have an incredible group of organisations, partners, and stalls there to share, again, different elements of awareness and support, not only for the LGBTQ plus community, but for absolutely everyone. That is what Pride's about. Pride is a celebration of love for everyone to be able to join us. And we have this year, for the first time, which is really exciting, we have Lizzie Susan, who's an incredible drag queen, local to Cornwall, who will be hosting. We've got Pendennis brass band, which will be marching through Truro. We've got an awesome band. They performed in Falmouth not so long ago for us, Stone Roots. You may have heard of this particular individual, Reese, the night church pianist. He will be performing. Oh my goodness, he is incredible. He was in Liscard and just blew my mind away. What he was doing was some noughties dance tracks and bringing them all together on a piano. My mind was just blown. A local artist who many people might not have heard of is Jude Johnson. He is phenomenal. We've also got Red Roof Amateur Operatic Society, a Pride favourite, Benji Matthews, and we'll be finishing off with Kernos brass band, but it's kind of funky end of the day. So we're really, really excited to bring Truro Pride together. We also have this very specific area in Truro Pride, which is our quiet space, which will be housed in the Hall for Cornwall for the very first time. So that'll be in the Cafe Green area.
You're coming together and you're talking together and you're being human. I think that's that human interaction, face to face on, is so much nicer.
No, of course it is, and it's just wonderful that Pride can bring this conversation of being beautifully different, and everyone has the space to, I want to say, feel safe whilst also feeling vulnerable and happy to share who they are in those spaces. And it's not about, it really isn't about being LGBTQ plus. It's about being in spaces where everyone can feel themselves and feel safe and not feel like, as many of us do within our working life or within our family life, we have to put a mask on. Actually, Pride's a place where you can take that off and be you, and it's just beautiful.
Talk to me about the quiet space. How does that work?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one of the things that we have focused on over the last 3 years is an understanding that whilst we put on an incredible event, it tends to be quite loud. And a lot of our community are neurodiverse, and one of the most important parts of Pride is that we are connected to all parts of our communities and intersectionalities. So as part of that, we have designed a program. But first of all, we've designed a program which is called Safer Spaces, which is a really simple sticker which goes onto shop fronts, retail spaces, pubs, hotels, B&Bs, whatever, and it denotes all the well-being, mental health well-being areas in that location across Cornwall. Now, as part of that, we have something which is very dedicated to Pride. It's called our Penguin Soup Area, and that has been historically and currently filled with mental health first aiders, suicide assist trained people as well. And it has an area where people can do some colouring, or they can borrow some ear defenders from us, or they can just have a moment whilst everything's a little bit busy around them.
I love
But separately, actually separately to that, we have designed a lot of our Pride not to be as busy, for example, and as hectic as Falmouth, Truro and Newquay, and they're really special. But we have designed, for example, a Red Roof Pride not so long ago as a really beautiful tea party in a park. Bodmin was some time that we spent in Lanhydrock, and we will be looking at different film festivals, film events and creative elements throughout the rest of the year. So, you know, we design what we do so there's something for everyone.
And suiting the particular area that you might be going in with what's available facilities wise and things. St Austell are going to have their own Pride as well, obviously, because we're, you know, another great thing. Are you able to tell us a bit more about St Austell's event?
Yes, absolutely. So St Austell Pride will be in September. as he frantically forgets. The crazy thing is, because we have had to change a lot of what we're doing this year. Some of our prides and some of our delivery has had to politely change on the fly, which has been quite scary. So St Austell Pride is on September 13th, and we will be bringing our incredible event to White River Place. Again, we'll be having a march with our community stalls joining us. It was just a beautiful day.
Oh, it's going to be a great event, and knowing that there's that big one in Truro, there's going to be one in St Austell as well. It gives people the opportunity. Now, like everything, without doing things, you need volunteers to help you make it happen. If there's anybody out there listening today going, do you know what? I want to make a difference. I want to get involved. Can they still do that?
Yes, they can. But before I explain that, we also have Newquay Pride on August 30th, which isn't the bank holiday. So it's the weekend after the bank holiday, which we're really excited about because we're kind of doing some extra little bits in Newquay as well. And to volunteer, quite simply, it is jumping onto our website, www.cornwallpride.org. In fact, across all socials, it's Cornwall Pride. It's very simple. Just come and join us, do a thing, and be part of an incredible movement in Cornwall which says no to hate.
NEWSWAVE.
Thank you to Matthew there. Always a pleasure to have him on with us. And if you want to find out more about Cornwall Pride or how you can get in contact with the team, head to their website, cornwallpride.org. Right, hello again. I'm Joe Allen and you're listening to NEWSWAVE on Chaos Radio. So, recently, me and Tom Howe visited Chaos Radio's very own art correspondent, Cathy Davies, to talk about a very exciting project that she's been working on. If you don't already know, Cathy is a professional and well-established artist in Cornwall who runs her own art school in Nampian, where she teaches the young and talented artists of Cornwall. A few months ago, while scrolling through Facebook, she came across an incredibly striking and powerful image that she told us she just had to paint. This was an image taken by a firefighter of another firefighter engulfed in flames and beating down a gorse bush during the Rosenan and Downs gorse fires back in March of 2025. The painting was recently finished and is due to be unveiled at a special event at Into Bodmin later this week. Cathy tells us her story of how she came to paint such a powerful image, the relationships she's now built with the firefighters involved in the painting, and how the funds made from the piece will go towards getting that all-important minibus for her art school.
NEWSWAVE.
My name is Cathy Davies and I work as a professional artist here in our beautiful Cornwall, and I'm based in a lovely little village called Nampian in the Clay Countries. And I teach little children at my art school. So I opened my studio 4 years ago and built this most incredible art studio, and I teach the elite of Cornwall. These kids are super talented. They're from 6 to 11 years. I also teach adults, and then I teach older kids, tutoring them like for their GCSEs and preparing them for the life of art.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's cool.
You're obviously guiding them and supporting them through their journey into art. Where did your journey begin?
So my journey began very, very young as an artist. I mean, probably about 3. So I was painting, and at school it was a real struggle because I was diagnosed with dyslexia, and that was a real struggle for me at school. So art, dyslexia was my superpower because it made me incredibly creative. So when it came to art, I flourished, and my school knew it, my friends knew it, and I was selling paintings from the age of 6 years old. And I haven't stopped. I have had jobs along the way, like other jobs, like all artists do. And then it came to a point where I just thought, both my parents had passed away quite young, and I was like, no, this is the moment. I need to go for it. I need to become a professional artist, or see if I can. And it snowballed, and then I've got the art school, and I've got all this going on, and it's exciting. You're
living your dream.
I'm living my dream.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is rather, your next project, this is rather more unique, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is.
Can we,
Yeah.
we'll talk about how you're presenting it and how you're displaying it in a second, but can we just strip it back and talk about this story? Because this incredible painting that you've got behind you, when did you first come across the theme and the photograph and the story behind it?
So it literally started the day before the photograph came out, and so I was driving back in March, and it was probably about 8 o'clock in the evening, started to get dark, and I was driving past my art gallery up towards Whitemore, which is another village in the Clay. I live in Roach, and I could see the sky was red over towards the moors, and I just saw this orange strip, and I just thought, that's a massive fire. There is a huge fire up there. And then the next day, and a few days later, this one image appeared on social media, and it blew me away. And this image was captured by another firefighter of that very incident that happened, that I saw a day before, which was up on the moors, a gorse fire. And that's what I could see miles away, and I think most people could see it from all over Cornwall. And this image was very, very powerful. And I don't think I've ever looked at a photograph. I've seen amazing photographers and amazing photographs, but this one image captured the movement, the heat. It's almost like I could feel the heat from the picture, from this photograph. And it was taken by a firefighter called Craig Allen. And he took a photograph of this other firefighter with a gauze beater beating down this fire, where it looked like this firefighter was engulfed in flames, but it had so much movement and heat, and power behind it that I had to. I just had a call into it. I thought, this is the moment. I need to get on top of this. So what I did is, a friend of mine, Dan, is a firefighter, and I said to him, I've seen this image. He says, I know this image. It's all over the place. It's all over social media. It's been on the news. It's been in the papers. And I said, could I get permission to paint this? I just need that photographer and the fire brigade to say yes. So I had permission to paint this painting. So I thought, this is brilliant, I can paint it. And that, when I started painting it, that's where everything changed. And that's when the moment, and there's sometimes in an artist's career and in moments of art where a painting changes and things fall in your lap and it all pieces together like a perfect jigsaw puzzle. And that moment is when I found out who was in the painting. And I was like, this is brilliant. So Dan actually came to me again and said, Cathy, do you realise who's in this painting? And I presumed an amazing firefighter, hero, because they all are, they're fabulous. It was the most amazing person that I feel now has become a really good friend of ours as well, to the art school and mine. It was a woman, and a very important woman. So this firefighter is called Alethea Walmsley, and she's the first ever female firefighter in Cornwall, and she's done 32 years service. And my heart melted. I cried. I was like, this is it. This is that moment where all the painting comes together and everything perfectly aligns. And then it changed everything. It changed the name. It changed the way I felt about the painting. And this is it. So, and we also named it. I renamed it as well because I wasn't sure what to call it at first. And then it was kind of like a powerful image. And then I thought, no, it's the phoenix from the flames.
How does it feel now to be on this side of things? So now you're ready to almost show it to the world. You've been through this incredible journey with this piece of canvas behind you, and with Alethea, and with your own personal journey as well that we'll talk about in a second, with your own family ties to firefighting as well. How does it feel now that you're days away from presenting it to the world?
Days away. When I finished it, I got quite because I've been in my new studio, my other studio, which is below where I teach. So I've been kind of hid away for over a month, beavering away on this painting. And the day I finished it, there was a lot of tears, and I feel it like coming on now. But I just felt, this is it. And then I called Alethea. I managed to get a meeting with Alethea just before it was finished. And I said to her, please come in. And she came in, and it was like meeting an old friend, because I've already been painting her for a month. So I was like, and she came in, and I just hugged her and met her lovely family and her husband. And I was just like, this is meant to be. You're immortalised on canvas forever. And I had the privilege of doing it, and that to me is really special. But what's even more special with that is that it's had the story behind it, and the kids have motivated me, and the love from the fire service, because they're the heroes, they're the ones, they're the first responders. The emergency services are the ones that need the massive round of applause. I'm just the painter who's created just one image. They're the ones that experience this day in, day out. So it's done, and onto the big reveal.
We don't want to reveal too much.
We're not.
But is there anything you can tell us about the work that's gone into it, the materials you've used, the symbolism, anything you've included?
There's a few secrets actually in the picture. Okay. Yeah. So I usually start my paintings. My paintings are quite large. This is quite a large painting, and I start off with canvas, and then I work with oils. and that's what the medium is painted in. And when I first started painting, there's actually to finish it off, to get the warmth in the picture, I did have to add real gold paint, which is a kind of crush up gold. I've got gold flakes, and we put it into the painting. And I had to, when I met Alethea for the image to show her, she showed me a picture of her radio that's in her top, I wouldn't say pocket, but it's on the jacket, on the fire jacket. I don't know if that's the right terminology. And I couldn't see, and you cannot see it in the photograph, but Alethea, now these little touches is why you need to study your subject and get everything right. Because on the top of the radio, there's a little, on the antenna, there is a yellow sticker. And on that yellow sticker is the number 52. And that, if I'm correct, is the number of the station, which is St Column Fire Station, where she's based in Cornwall. So that is actually in the painting. And also in the painting, I wanted to put her name. I kind of didn't want to put it on her jacket because it needs to be kind of, other firefighters to look at it and relate to it themselves. But it was my duty of care that I had to put her name into it. So her name is actually written in gold at the side of a flame, actually by the gorse bush, secretly hidden. But you can see it because she needs to be seen. And she is seen in the picture, but her name had to be there. And it's a wonderful painting, and it's, well, I hate saying that sometimes because I feel like a bit of a show off saying, "Oh, this is my painting. It's so amazing," but it's what's gone, behind it, behind the scenes, and to get everything authentic and true and real is why it's being released next week.
Let's talk about that release then. So people listening, watching, who are intrigued to have a look, to be with you on that special occasion, or maybe afterwards if they can't make that evening. Let's talk about when, where, how you're presenting it, and where it's going after that as well.
So this painting is we're having a one evening event, and it's at the old library in Bodmin, and it's called Into Bodmin. Great company, and it's a great venue. And the significance, or the links I have to Bodmin is I am a Bodmin girl, and I'm very proud. I was born in Bodmin, and both my parents worked at Bodmin Hospital, the old St Lawrence's. So I'm very proud that I am from Bodmin. But the significance behind the old library, why I chose that place, is because when I was 6, my first ever picture, my painting, that was exhibited there in the library from Berrickham School, which was my junior school. They saw something in me. Berrickham School saw my talent when at a very young age. So I thank them for that, for those teachers that, really nurtured that talent. And they exhibited one of my paintings there, and I think there was a competition or something, and they put my painting up. So it was only right, and it felt right, that this was such a beautiful story that I needed to put this painting with love and all the love that's gone into it, and the people that love me and the people that support my art school and myself, that's where we released and revealed the painting.
Amazing.
And then at the event, something else very special is that the lovely Alethea and some of her other team and firefighters around Cornwall are going to be there, and Alethea is actually doing the reveal. I do that because that's what you have, like
that's the natural thing to do, isn't it?
A cover on it.
Yeah.
So she's going to do the reveal.
Yeah. So
it'll kind of it's got like a start, a middle, and an end to it all, and it's just a beautiful way of celebrating, not just about my art. This is about the emergency services. This is about the fire brigade, that they're heroes, that they need a round of applause, because I do think the fire service sometimes, don't get the credit they deserve, because they do this day in, day out, whether you're full-time, whether you're retained. And I know that because my granddad was a retained firefighter in Bodmin, and also I lived right next door to the fire station growing up. So maybe that's why I put so much love into this paint as well, because of the history behind that, the ties I have with Bodmin Fire Station and everything else. But it's just, it's going to be an amazing event. And then after the event, this painting gets shown to the public, so the public can view it. And this is a really important part of the story, because it's going to be exhibited at a new gallery that is opening in Truro called the Main Gallery, and they've got some quite high prolific artists that are going to be exhibiting there. And I was asked, and I have the privilege of showing this painting for the first time to the public there, so they can go along after the 28th of July, because that's the opening, and they can see this painting and purchase it, because this is what it's about as well. They can purchase this painting, because the story finishes off beautifully, because this painting, every single penny raised from this painting will go to our art school minibus for the kids. And that's where we wanted to finish the story off, is that from Alethea, from that incident that happened on Bodmin Moor, to finish it off, hopefully, put it out there that we could have a minibus so I could take my incredible art students on their arty journeys around Cornwall. And if we did get the money, which I'm hoping we will, because we've already raised a little bit as well through bingos and charity events, that we said our first journey would be to be back to the fire station to see Alethea and the team. So that's what I feel a bit emotional, but that's what it would be. That's what we would do. And what a wonderful story. And I feel privileged to tell the story, to capture it in time on canvas. And then when it's shown, it's kind of out of my hands. There it goes into the future. Let people decide what they think, and hope they get on board this. The amazing woman that's in this picture, and the amazing fire station that she represents, but firefighters all around the world. So like the LA fires, you've got the fires in Australia, in Europe at the moment, all these fires that's happening, and all these firefighters that put themselves in danger all the time. This, I hope it resonates across the pond as well. So I hope other firefighters in the world can pick up on this and look at it and go, yeah, that's us.
That's really cool.
We've done it.
Thank you for sharing such an inspiring story with us, for bringing us into the background of things, and to give us the opportunity to tell your story as well. I think we've hit all of the main points, barring the name of the minibus. Are we okay to talk about that as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah? So we're manifesting this minibus.
We are manifesting this minibus. And it was actually down to one of my lovely pupils, little boy called George. And I've been teaching him for 3 years, him and his lovely sister. And he said to me, because I take them downstairs to show the painting, and they met Alethea, and George said to me, Cathy, if we raise all this money to get our minibus, it's only like a 9-seater, we don't need too much, we don't need a big minibus. If we raise this money, it's only right to name the minibus after Alethea. And I just went, that's perfect. So her nickname is Leaf. So we said we would have the Leaf minibus, and we would have her on the back, have your face on the back. We would have a little golden leaf as her, to symbolise the legend that is.
The legend that is, who we'll be speaking to in just a second. And
for the whole fire brigade, it will be, what a moment. And that's where, put it out there, manifest it, that's what we would love. So that's what the money goes to. So what a lovely end to a story of something, so the incident, the tragedy up on the moors, of all that, the wildlife, the surrounding areas getting damaged, to finishing off the story of the children having a minibus for their art.
NEWSWAVE.
Thank you to Cathy Davies for sitting down with us for a chat about this exciting project. To listen to the full piece and to watch the video we made around it, keep an eye out on our socials, Chaos Radio UK. And finally, have you ever heard of a peace walk? A peace walk or peace march, sometimes referred to as a peace pilgrimage, is a form of non-violent action where a person or group marches a set distance to raise awareness for the particular issues important to the walkers. Paul Haines, a local man from Truro, has recently completed a remarkable journey, a 1,400 kilometre walk from Berlin to Budapest. This peace walk was a personal and purposeful way to reflect on Europe's history, connect with communities and support the work of peace building. Paul joined Janice Rose in the studio to discuss the reason behind his inspiring journey, the things he experienced along the way and what was next on the cards for him.
NEWSWAVE.
It's a long story.
We like long stories here.
But I'll shorten it. It started about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So for various different reasons, I started walking pilgrimages for various reasons. And then one thing led to another, and I started wanting to walk for something. And I used to volunteer in Cornwall for Singing for the Brain for the Alzheimer's Society.
Yes.
So I started walking for the Alzheimer's Society. That was 2014, and that was from London to Rome. And what I found was that in walking for something, it was great for me because and you actually for charity, but also I got to talk to a lot more people than I would do just walking. So I would talk to people about Alzheimer's, and then during that walk I had this experience of walking through the First World War cemeteries. And for about 3 weeks I walked past cemetery after cemetery after cemetery, and it just had such a profound effect. And I came out of that thinking, well, I really got to do something to stop that happening ever again, and in whatever way I can. So I started walking for peace. So that led to 2015 when I walked for peace from Rome to Jerusalem, which again was an amazing experience.
How many miles was that, Paul?
Well, the London to Rome was 1,500 miles, and then Rome to Jerusalem was similar, 1,500.
Oh my word!
So it was extraordinary, and just not just the walking, it was the people I met, the experiences I had, and then it then led me to sort of want to carry on. So I set up a website. So it led to me researching about peace in cities, and the website is actually for a database for each city that I go to. So now what I thought I'd do was to start walking around the cities of Europe, and so far I've done from London to Belgium, the Netherlands, Copenhagen, and I did the natural route across the Scandinavia, and then last year I went through the Baltic countries. And then this year from Berlin to Budapest. So I'm not quite sure what's going to happen next year because there's not a natural progression from there, but
Okay.
I'll have to see.
Wow, that's amazing. So why did you choose the Berlin to Budapest walk for this year's walk? What was the significance of it?
Well, it was literally carrying on from in a sequential route around Europe. So I settled because last year I got up to Warsaw, so I decided, right, Berlin would be the next point. And I thought, well, I can manage 5 cities. And it was fascinating because I stay a week in each city because I'm doing research for the website. So meeting as many people as I can, checking out the information I've researched. And it was wonderful for me because I'd never been to Berlin before, never been to Budapest, never been to Bratislava. I'd been to Vienna and Prague, but only short time. So each city was just wonderful to go to explore.
So what sort of people do you manage to touch base with when you go to these cities? Do you link up automatically, or do you just let the universe decide who you're going to bump into?
Well, well, each city I will have researched on the internet beforehand. So on the website I will have a number of different groups and places as well. So I choose to email a certain number of them. So, for instance, in Berlin there's the International Peace Bureau, which is a very long-established peace group. So, and I managed to meet one person there, and we had a long chat, and then another person through that for another group. And then also, I go to Quaker meetings here in Cornwall, and I find that Quakers are very good as a sort of a place to go for like-minded people. So I went to a Quaker meeting, ended up having a podcast with someone that was there about visitors to Quaker meetings and what they're doing for peace. So that was interesting, and it's just a whole variety of different people. I mean, I think I met the Amnesty office, Amnesty International office I went to. I'm trying to remember the other groups I went to, but a number of groups. And then also, what I also do is do a lot of walking within the cities, and I quite often find things that you wouldn't naturally have spotted. So, like maybe a fountain or a monument of some sort that I will then register and include on the website. So it's broad, the sort of approach I take. So I meet a lot of people and I see a lot of things, and not always the kind of things you would normally see when you visit a city. I know I've always experienced this in the past when I've been with someone and they say, I've never seen a city this way, in terms of peace.
Yes.
Quite often you'll see memorials to war, but not so many remembrances of peace or acknowledgement of people that have contributed to peace.
Paul, you did this walk to raise funds. Would you tell our listeners a little bit about the charity behind it?
Well, when I did the walk in 2015 to Jerusalem, I very particularly wanted a charity that didn't take any sides, that was equal, looked at a situation and had a balanced view. And there weren't many. There were very many charities that were for one side or another side, and I came up with a short list, and I chose this Children of Peace charity. It's a UK charity, and I've been supporting them for the last 10 years. So again, this year I've got a Just Giving website or Just Giving page for the Berlin to Budapest thing, which is still open for anyone that wants to donate. And Children of Peace is a UK-based charity, and it looks to help any children in the Middle East. So it doesn't favor one side or the other, it just treats children as children and helps in any way they can, which is so important now.
How did you find that communities responded to you when you were walking, and you talked about the remit behind your walk, Paul?
Well, I think, it's very interesting. I've always been aware that I've chosen Children of Peace, and people respond to children, and it's so important. So in a way, I'm glad I chose that charity. So that's one thing, the response to the fact it's for children. Other than that, in fact, I came one other trip I did at the beginning of last year was to go to Washington, and I met someone in Washington who runs the Jerusalem Youth Chorus, and I met him in Jerusalem back in 2015. And they're still going, and even more so now. They're 50% Israeli Jews, 50% Israeli Palestinians, and they spent 50% of their time singing, and 50% of their time talking and reconciling and telling stories and working together.
How can we as individuals be peace or spread peace to the world? Do you have any pearls of wisdom, Paul?
Well, I always advocate for walking for peace, and there are, like in Vienna, I met up with a Walking for Peace group, and we're trying to encourage each other to sort of form more groups, so something like that. But I always remember there was I managed to get Bruce Kent down to Cornwall to talk to us, and very well-known CND person. And I remember there were some students from Falmouth University there, and someone asked the question, so what can we do? And he said, anything, just one little thing, writing a letter, putting a sign up, looking at a sign, doing whatever you can, or even an act of kindness. It can be big, small, whatever it is. It's just as long as we're aware that whatever we do is a part of making peace in the world, and it not necessarily doesn't have to be a long walk. It can be a short walk. It doesn't have.
It could even be a smile, couldn't it?
Well, yes, smiles are wonderful. Yeah. Yes, they are, yeah.
Paul, for those listening who want to learn more or follow your journeys and support peace building work, where can they go for more information? Because I know you've got your websites.
Well, I've got my website, which is www.linkstopeace.org. Now, that is it's if you are going to, it's obviously not complete information about every city in the world, but it's the ones that I've done. So if you were going to Brussels or Oslo or something like that, there's complete information about where to go to find groups that are working for peace or objects about peace. So there's that one. And on that website, I've got somewhere there's a link to my walk in Jerusalem 2015. There's various other things on that website. The charity Children of Peace, which is www.childrenofpeace.org.uk, they have a page on it with me, Paul Haines Walks, and on there's a link to the Just Giving website page for this current walk.
NEWSWAVE.
Okay, that's all we have time for on this week's edition of NEWSWAVE. A big Chaos Radio thank you to Jill and Bob, volunteers for the Gorran Haven Community Bus Service, to Matthew Kenworthy Gomez, CEO of Cornwall Pride, to Chaos Radio Art Correspondent Cathy Davies, we cannot wait to see that painting, and finally a big thank you to Paul Haines for coming in to share his amazing journey with us. And a final thank you to you for listening and helping support local journalism to thrive. To catch up on all of our coverage, as well as to check out our extensive back catalogue of interviews and shows, head on over to chaos.radio. Now remember, if you have a local news story that you would like to share with us, email news@chaos.radio or search Chaos Radio UK across socials. That's it, you're up to date here on Chaos. I'm Joe Allen. Thank you very much for listening to me. See you next time.
NEWSWAVE.
Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.